course, Mother's Day is this Sunday, so there was a little quiz here. Questions that require a simple either mom or dad. For instance, question number 1. Which parent were you more afraid to anger?
Father.
All right, mother for me. I was more afraid to disappoint Dad, and Dad usually was the one that would, pull the belt out of his, polyester pants when it came time for a whooping. But I was more afraid of angering Mother, more afraid of disappointing Dad. How about you guys?
Definitely more afraid of my mother, for sure. I was very frightened of my mother.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, I was.
Were you close?
Yeah, we were close. I was the baby, and my sisters had already left the building. But my mom never felt good. I'll just be honest. She was always on medication, so she always was sick for many, many years, and you just didn't know what would happen. And one time she set me on fire. I'll never forget that one. Come over here. I had these shorts on with these little straggly, jean shorts that were cut-offs. She wanted to cut them off, so she just went to burn off the string and set me on fire. And I went running around the house.
To burn off a string. I see.
So anyway, my mom it was very moody, so I never wanted to disrupt my mother ever.
Frankie?
That'd be my dad.
Your dad. Okay. Number 2. Which parent were you more likely to approach for money?
Oh, that's a good one.
My mother.
My dad.
My dad.
My mom.
All right. Who said mom? Was she the one who handled all the finances in your house?
She did not, but my dad was so intimidating and such an authoritarian guy. I remember him sitting watching TV with his Boston cooler, his ice cream and his soda, and I'd be careful to just not even walk in the room. My dad worked a lot, was always tired, so I'd go to my mom for anything I needed.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Question number 3. Which parent signed your report cards? My dad did.
Yeah, I believe it was Luther.
I think you're right. Yeah, I can see my father's signature on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That'd be my mom.
All right.
And it's so neat to run across, by the way, handwriting from your parents. You ever come around that? My parents have been passed away for a long time, but
Right.
I find a letter here and there, and that is just the coolest thing in the world to see my dad's writing. I love that.
I went through this, and I must have been just at the age where things embarrassed me. I don't know what, 8 years old, 9 years old. But if I had to bring a note in from Dad, he would sign it like a really quick.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't even read it. And the fact you couldn't read his signature, I was so embarrassed to give it to my teacher. Like, I didn't know.
My dad would go into great detail about what was wrong. If you had diarrhea, it wouldn't just be diarrhea. He'd explain.
In the sick note?
Yeah, in the sick note, what exactly came out. I was like, Dad, okay. It's enough.
Which parent is more proud of you today? Or would be more proud of you? Equally for me.
My mother.
All right. You guys?
I'd say both.
Yeah.
Pretty equally.
I think equal. They never thought of radio as a job. They never thought it could be a real career. So I think they'd both be very proud.
Which parent is more disappointed with you, or would be more disappointed with you today?
Father.
I don't think either one of them would be. I don't think.
Oh, you mean on your...
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing to be disappointed about, but if one of them was going to be, it would be him.
Yeah. I see.
Might be my mom because of having no kids. So she might be upset with not more grandchildren.
Well, yeah, I can understand. Which parent taught you the most?
Well, my father taught me how to play poker, so I'm going to go with my dad.
Okay.
I can't say. They both did their thing.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think both in some ways, but actually my sister more than anybody used to teach me math. That's how I ended up doing kind of the math thing. So
Well, and we're all lucky she did. Because you're our official mathematician here on the show.
Yeah.
Which parent worked harder? For me, it was equal. They both left the house at 6 o'clock. Mom sewed coats in a factory. Dad worked long hours. So I say equal.
Well, there would be an equality, but my house was a very 50s kind of a house. The father went out and earned the money, and mother raised the kids. But they both worked equally hard. But Luther was gone at 7, home at 8.
Which parents did you turn to most often for advice?
Probably Luther.
I guess my mom. Yeah.
That's a great question. Looking back, apologies to both Mom and Dad. In that time, I don't think I felt comfortable enough to going with them with anything.
Oh, man,
so
really?
I did not have the luxury that I know you've talked a lot about.
Yeah, I learned so much from my dad, but I also learned so much from my mom. And I'll tell you, I wouldn't be here today doing what I do if it weren't for my mom. Because all my friends, senior year, going off to college, Dad had told me that, I can't afford to put you through school, and even if I could, I would make you do it on your own. And I didn't have any money to speak of, so I thought, hey, and also Dad said, if I were you, and I'm not telling you to do this, but if I were you, I would enroll into enlist into the military, and you could retire at 45 with a pension, and I go, okay. So I thought about it. I saw the Navy Jazz Band at perform in some neighboring town, and I was a drummer, and that's what I want to do. I'm going to be a drummer in the Navy Jazz Band. They blew me away. Stan Kenton stuff and Maynard Ferguson, and they were just playing all these great songs. So from Cambridge, the town we lived in, to Kewanee is a 15-mile drive. Around the 7th mile, Mom was driving me into the enrolling office. What do you call it? The enlistment center for the Navy. And she looked at me and then looked at the road. And she said, Brian, do you really want to do this? And for the first time, I got her opinion on this. I knew that she was not really for it for the first time. And I went, well, it seems like the good thing to do. Brian, do you really want to enlist? No, I don't. Slammed on the brakes, turned around, and went home.
That's done.
How'd your dad feel about that?
I think he was disappointed.
Yeah.
He was disappointed, but he said, okay, let's see where you go.
Cool.
Let's see. All right, which parent do you have the most in common with?
You know what? Every day that I look in the mirror, I look more and more like Luther.
You, yesterday for some, balloons, birthday show. On Tuesday, you took one of the balloons and put it under your shirt, and you walked into the programming office, and I went, you're your dad. Both our dads had put on weight, but your dad only put it on right there in his belly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was all right in front, all for all to see.
How about you?
Definitely my mother. Love of Christmas, taking care of other people, just sparkly things. Yeah, just, my mom loved that kind of stuff. So, yeah, my mom for sure.
Frankie?
In my younger days, my mom. As I've gotten older, my pops. Yeah.
Which parent is the better cook?
Oh, God, my mother was an incredible cook.
Yes, I am here to say she was.
Oof.
Oh, my God. I used to love going over to your house.
And I took it for granted because I thought everybody's mom cooks like this. She was something else.
Yeah.
God.
Mm-hmm. My mom just, I don't even think my mom liked to cook, but she
have
was
to
the
do
cook.
it.
Yeah, Dad didn't cook. Although the best thing is when Mom was away, for very rarely was she ever, but when Dad went grocery shopping and I got to go with him, he didn't know. I'd be putting cereal in there. He'd get sausage. He'd get macaroni. And he'd get all good stuff.
Little Debbie's.
Little Debbie's. Yeah, okay, yeah, put it in the basket. Let's go. Let's get out of here. Frankie?
My mom for sure, and the influence of my dad's mom, my grandmother. That Italian memories of a child just smelling fresh pasta being cooked in the kitchen, and she taught my mom. So my mom for sure.
All right. This is I have no response to this one because neither one of them did, but which parent was more likely to dress you funny?
Neither. I was always left on my own to wear whatever I chose. So I don't remember either while I'm doing anything.
My dad, just like whatever. You know what? If you got a sweater, put it on. He didn't care. He hated spending money on clothes, frivolous things. But I was playing in bands at 14. I had to have kind of nice clothes, so my mom would take me and she would spend the money.
Oh, cool.
She would make sure that I got what I wanted to look as cool as I could. And okay, which parent taught you? Or which parent dressed the funniest? My mom was always very good about dressing.
Yeah.
We had what we had, and she made do with what that. My dad, I'll never forget. And this is when he was like 32. He had the Bermuda shorts, the long black stretch socks, and the sandals out there cooking in the barbecue.
I do. Luther was a bank president, and so he would wear suits to work every day. However, if it was what he called a field day, because part of his job was when a farmer wanted to borrow money to buy land. And this was the part of the job that Luther loved best. He had to go out and survey the land. So he would leave the house with his suit on, but wearing construction boots. And I always thought, you look stupid.
My mom would buy my father his clothes. She wouldn't. She'd always buy the little coordinated, like baby blue socks to go with the baby blue little, top that she'd get for my dad with the coordinating shorts. So he always had little outfits, thanks to my mother. But I always remember the coordinating socks.
I always wanted to buy my mom nice clothes. When I started getting a little coin in my pocket every Christmas, every Mother's Day, every birthday, I just wanted to buy her nice clothes because she was raised, low class. They had nothing. 6 kids. Parents worked as hard as they could, but they had nothing. Right. And my mom was the oldest, and she had a prom coming up. And she went, and she only told me this story once, and it just knocked me out. She went to the Salvation Army. And there was a beautiful dress there that cost maybe, I don't know, at the time, $1.25 or something, but it was the most beautiful, gorgeous dress she'd ever seen. And she got it for her prom. She went to the prom, and the snooty girl, whose mom donated that dress to the Red Cross, came up and made fun of her.
Jeez.
So to this day, it's always about clothes. In fact, Mother's Day, I found this great little store online, the kind of stuff she's really going to like. So it's always clothes for my mom. She's easy. She's easy to buy for because she loves the clothes. That's it, as far as the thing goes.